Hey guys, Lucky Sevens here again with my predictions for what's going to be the best cards to play that you're going to be seeing across the table from you, or I guess computer screen, and the best cards, well, the ones that I am going to craft personally. Just completely biased. If you didn't see my last set review, the first top 10 are just going to be cards I desperately want to make decks out of. But first, a memoriam for the cards that I will miss leaving this set. Star of Extinction. And that's it. Goodbye. I don't care about all these other cards. I hated so many cards in this set. Adanto, Vanguard, Teferi, blah 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 blah. The list can go on for years. But I am happy and ready for this new expansion to come out. So, without further ado, let's not get into the list yet. Let me say a few honorable mentions, stuff that didn't make the top 10 of my biased list that I want to build around, and the top 10 list of cards that I think are actually going to be seeing the most play in Standard, the most powerful cards in this Throne of Eldraine set. Starting us off, Sundering Stroke. It's no Star of Extinction, but could be a dope finisher. Either way, I'm definitely trying it in almost mono red decks with maybe a splash of blue for Ral, because if you can get that minus, that would be dope. That's the biggest thing about this. Being able to hit somebody in the face for 7 and then doubling that, maybe even doing like a repeated reverberation, though the amount of mana that would take is crazy. Ironcrag Fleet comes to mind to make that work. But next is Harmonious Archon. Blah 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 blah. Very powerful card, but expensive. And with a massive Planeswalkers as options for the top end, I'm not 100% sure this is making the cut. There's already Eugene, aka Ugin, Liliana, and now even the new Garruk. And I don't know, the 6-drop spot just feels pretty heavy already. I don't know if this is going to make the cut. Piper of the Swarm, just a cool card. Hope there's more rats in the Theros underworld. Midnight's Clock. Love the design even more than the gameplay aspect, though it feels very blue and may see play in some decks, but I doubt it. I don't think this one's going to get there, but it is very cool. Happily Ever After. I'm going to lose to this and either clap in appreciation or smash my keyboard. I honestly don't know how this is going to be built. Niv Mizzet Reborn version would be dope, but a heavy Planeswalker version could be infuriating to play against. Probably a combination of both, and almost made the top 10 I'm going to play with, but honestly, I'm not spending rare wildcards on this, which means I'll probably get a play set in my packs. Kenrith, another almost made it on the list. Love the card. Will make one for Brawl and probably call it though. Hopefully he makes waves in Standard. Worthy Knight. Like Hero, but less versatile. Should be in most Knight decks, but playing Knights to get more Knights seems like putting too much on the board. Too many eggs in one basket, and you can just get swept up by board clear. And I feel like that's going to happen more often than not. Outlaw's Merriment. It's no Assemble the Legion, but seems pretty cool nonetheless, and should find a home somewhere, even if it's just a sideboard for some extra pressure. I see a lot of Legion Warboss in the sideboard. I can see this getting in there too. Charming Prince. I think this card is silly good, but maybe for Modern more than Standard. There's kind of a fuck humans tension in the air of this set, and I see most decks wanting to use this getting steamrolled by sturdier aggro decks. Still, it should see some play, just like the growth spiral of the Slimmic Flash deck. Maybe it's just going to get slid in because it needs a spot. Like, it's there and it serves its purpose, but that's not what your opponent's going to be scared to see across the table, or again, across the computer screen. Claim the Firstborn. Ooh, I love this card. Such flavor, such power. If the meta allows it, this card will be insane. Or it can be something better for Modern, as They have all the mana in the world and plenty of sacrifice outlets to really get value out of this. But at uncommon, I'll definitely be crafting this and forcing it into any deck that it has a chance of being good in. Also, being able to target your own creature and give it haste, maybe on like a Terramander or something, that might be useful enough to get a win sometimes. And lastly, on this very long list of honorable mentions is Rankle, because no good reason. Just didn't make the cut. Will be a very good card and see play though. I'm just not super excited to build around him, and I think there's better cards than him. Just about 10 to be exact. So now on to the favorites. At the number 10 spot, the Royal Scions. If Phoenix comes back, it will be because of Thrills of Possibility. Seriously, you guys see that card? Instant speed Tormenting Voice. Oh my god, it's so crazy. But this card will be in it too. And obviously so because of its first ability, but even more so because of its second. Its second, you say? Yes, don't be so goddamn ignorant, Karen. That will really help pressure against the massive Planeswalkers and gives any amount of little token generators, which there's a massive in Improbable Alliance, another new card, sweet card, I love it, Saheeli, or Murmuring Mystic. Actually, that's kind of a nice little curve there. So being able to slot any one of those in your curve in order to get a little extra pressure, or possibly doing it on a Goblin Electromancer, or doing it on a Crackling Drake and giving it trample and first strike, that's big. A main reason for me, at least, why it fell out of prominence in Standard is because Teferi really just shut down Finale of Promise so hard. Now you can pressure that bullshit and kill it so it frees up to play spells again. And if that works, I say lean in harder. Now you can pump Dreadhorde Arcanist to a 3/3 and swing in copying just about any spell you'd have in an Izzet Phoenix deck. All this while inching closer and closer to its good, but not game-ending ultimate. I really like this card and will definitely be trying it out because Izzet has always been my favorite 2-color combination. And at number 9, we go to Linden the Steadfast, ready to fuck up a bitch. I usually don't see dedicated life gain decks make it to tier 1, and I can't see this tipping the scales to make that change, but between Ajani's Pridemate, Angel of Vitality, Dawn of Hope, and the unlikely splash of black for Bloodthirsty Airless, maybe this will make it. Doubt it, and I will reserve her a spot on the bench, ready and waiting to get in the moment red decks see them a little too aggressive in the meta, which will bring more control, which will bring more mid-range, which will bring more combo, which will bring back aggro, and all things in balance, as it should be. Stormfist Crusader. What a dope card. Like, the dual drawback type effect is usually defined by who gets the benefit first, and this card manages to get it right. It can always be removed, yeah, but it still hits them and draws you a card as well. For aggro, this feels really solid, and it's in the perfect colors for triggering Spectacle. Don't think it'll be an all-star, but I expect a lot of people trying it out. Also, could get cute and squeeze Narset in for pure value. I mean, who's gonna stop you? Oh, the mana base? Well, probably, yeah. At number 7, Clack Bridge Troll. Something about it doesn't hit right for me. Like, it should be good. I can see so many situations in which it would be, but something in my heart feels like at 5 mana, the opponent is going to have some removal, or just unsummon, or something like that locked and loaded, waiting to pick it off. In mid-range decks, you typically want the enter the battlefield triggers to help you, so when it dies, you at least get some value. See Harmonious Archon again. So this is meant for the top end of aggro? I mean, maybe it will work. Maybe I'm just going crazy and this is way better than I think. But regardless, hold that full trigger when seeing this, boys and girls, because like Legion War Boss's trigger, I'm sure this Star of the Combat stuff is really going to fuck over a lot of players on Arena. Hover shift, my friends. At number 6, the Cauldron of Eternity, is one that passed me by. Actually interacting with other humans has shown me some of the potential for this card though. It started with someone mentioning its use in Commander because, of course, alongside Grenzo Dungeon Warden. Admittedly cool and seemed like a perfect pair. That led me down the rabbit hole of seeing how to make this work because while a heavy proponent of Kethis, there's no way in hell I would have made that 4-color Kethis combo deck. Someone was in another realm when they thought of that. Similarly, this list I saw at VTC LA was pretty crazy. Honestly, I'm like half seeing it, but something in my bones tells me there's enough around this card to become something crazy. Mirror, 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 mirror. At number 5, this card, Magic Mirror, has all the potential to be annoying as fuck. Genuinely, this, bounce cards for tempo, counter spells, quick filtering and opt and anticipate / discovery or something like that, alongside Jace, feels like it has the potential to be one of the most annoying decks ever. And that's before branching off from its blue base just a bit to add really, really annoying cards that we've already know, like Teferi or Thought Erasure, or shit, maybe even Growth Spiral or Expansion Explosion. Whatever splash of life you want, it feels like it's not even going to be that hard to get in that second color because the mana base is going to be pure blue, pure asshole, just an annoying piece of shit, countering every single thing they throw at you, knowing you'll just draw a shit ton of cards at the beginning of your upkeep with no maximum hand size, and having a win con and an easy Jace that's going to help you draw more cards. This one could make it, and that would be annoying. Please stay at tier 2. At number 4, Robber of the Rich was maybe just a few words taken off or added to become absolutely bonkers. In typical red fashion, it's a lot better when you play first and will find its home in some sort of red deck, alongside 10th Street Dodger, another rogue with haste that can make itself close to unblockable. You should be able to do some work. My issue is that you probably need to clear the way with him, as instead of flying or menace or even first strike, it has reach. Lore wise, this makes sense as most archers in MTG do have reach. But really, the extra hoops and hurdles you have to go through to make this work may kill this card before it even gets going, especially because it kind of goes against what the red decks are doing right now. The classic version with Steamkin and Burn want to do things after combat, casting Spectacle, light up the stages, and skewer the critics, while his ability only activates if you have less cards than them. So that's weird. Plus it has 2 power, so that's weird for Calamity decks. So where does this go? Why is it so high on my list? Well, Karen, that's because of motherfucking modern and standard, baby. I always make this kind of deck. If you're new to the channel or just watching this video, the idea is low cost, high value, like trying to make a mid-range deck with the cheapest curve you can. So this fits right in. Opt is back too, baby, so Duress, that shock, help make Dreadhorde Arcanist, who's in the deck, a beast. Thief of Sanity is straight up what Robber of the Rich wants to be, but Robber makes up for it slightly due to him having haste, and well, you get it. It's something that I'm going to brew and I'm sure make a video about. Don't think it's worth spending your wildcard on if you're just throwing it in some red deck wins aggro. And it doesn't belong in bid red because of hand issues and most likely a lack of rogues. But me, for this deck, I'm going to abuse the shit out of it. At number 3, Torbrand. Torbrand, what? Torbrand, what? Second best name in the set, and also card is ridiculous. Plain and simple. I will be using it as my first Brawl commander without a doubt. For standard, it seems crazy, but have to admit the 4-drop slot already is seeing a ton of play in just about every version I can see. Opportunistic Dragon in Big Red, another new card, very cool. Chandra in Chandra, I guess. Chandra in, yeah, okay, the other 4-drop Chandra in most others. Scampering Scorcher in Cavalcade, along with the king of them, Experimental Frenzy. So does it want this too, or even instead of those? Yes. Yes, it does. Though almost surely not a full playset. But honestly, even maybe a full playset. Truly, think about it like this. The other cards of this cycle are actually less expensive than the red version, and there's no outcry about it. At number 2, Corvold. Yep, from the Brawl decks. I really want Jund Sacrifice to work. I already talked about it. I bigged it up so much that I'm going to make it happen. But to summarize, there's a wealth of options in that deck that standard versions would want 4 of. With a playset of the best token and sacrifice engines, I feel like this can become a thing. And as long as we can make the mana base work, I think it has a chance to be something. And lastly, Fires of Invention. If you can't tell already, I'm slightly biased to red. And this set of the top 10 list is inherently biased, so chill the fuck out, Karen. But really, holy shit. A lot of the times I remember red from the old days, it was just aggro or in conjunction with another color supporting it. But this, too many ideas swirling around for this one. Noxious made a video you should check out talking about his possibilities. I'll probably leave a link in the description below. I think I can do that. One of these possibilities he talked about, though, was using Cavalier of Flame in conjunction with some other powerful beaters, such as Ronas. Then using that land mana you don't have to use because of Fire Invention and give them haste, which is just, it's dirty. Just a filthy turn 5. And let me just do the math real quick.
I'm drowning.
So that's 23 damage, turn 5. Ooh, bro. If that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what else could. That seems like such a filthy combo. One that's very susceptible to burn and other things, blah, 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 blah. I'm thinking of this card in a very magical Christmas land, which is why my mind went into even more degenerate places. I'm thinking a Jeskai version with powerful planeswalkers and board clears and probably even Field of the Dead. That turn 4 that you play fires, you could also play Outlaw Merriment or Dawn of Dreams. Just draw some more cards. And at the top end, you could live the scumbag's dream. Narset into emergency powers. I can't wait to brew with this one. Too many thoughts in my head. But brushing away all the crazy magical Christmas land thoughts that I have, I'm going to get down to what I think are the most powerful cards in the new Throne of Eldraine set. Number 10 is Embercleave. Yep, we're going to stay on red, but it's just, it belongs somewhere. This Excalibur is so good, and it should probably get tossed in Knights or Cavalcade red. They make a lot of sense. Even if it's just a 1-power creature, it turns it into hitting for 4 instead of 1. Rather than putting it on some insane value flying no hide Ferox, you just have to think about chipping away at the opponent, which something going wide wants to do, and this is going to be just 3 extra damage that this is going to be doing permanently. And in Knights, if that is something, there's almost no chance it's not going to be. Wizards really wanted to make clear that Knights should be something. Then it's going to hit for even harder. My issue with it, and why it's going in at 10, is that it's still an equipment. Destroy the creatures and you can chill and leave this on the field for however long they want it there. Plus, it being legendary obviously hurts this, so I don't know exactly where it will end up or if it will be a full playset, but I expect to see it somewhere. Number 9, Grum Gully, the best name in the set. Grum Gully. Oh my god, I love that name for some reason. Moving on. Alright, no, seriously, this card seems crazy for red-green aggro. Green has a wealth of strong cards still coming over from the last set, but loses its spiky-ass start of Land of War Elves into Steel Leaf Champion. But Yorvo is a worthy replacement. On top of that, Grell Spellbreaker, Questing Beast, Skargan, or to stay more green but less creature-based, Nissa. Again, wealth of options, and this just makes everything stronger, in a way that makes anything with Proliferate a huge payoff as well. The real question is something that's going to be mostly green willing to toss in this second color for Grum Gully, Spellbreaker, and the biggest upside, Marauding Raptor, baby, it's back. Alright, so if you didn't see my last set review, I really amped this card up, and it did pretty good. It did its job in Jund Dinosaurs. I think that is still going to be here. He's back, even if it's almost never going to get that plus attack. Just about nothing has to die in a green deck because the 2 damage is just something they brush off. They're too thick. So why not make them all cost 1 less? Back to Grum Gully though, some cards that may be 2 power are going to enter with an extra counter anyway. Put your triggers on there right and you're fine. He's going to be really good. Crazy uncommon. Again, slight issue of being legendary, but I can see someone putting 2 or 3 into almost every grow build. And at number 8, the Great Henge. One of the reasons green might say, I don't need you other bitches. Like, this could be even higher on the list, but it does slightly have the Embercleave problem of being so shitty in multiples while relying on creatures both on board and in hand to get value. But the payoff for when it's working is nonsense. It gives you a chance for a tempo 2 drop after playing or is straight ramp later, gains life to further pull you away from more aggressive decks that may have put in work before you started slapping down disgustingly large green monstrosities, then makes them stronger now when you put them on the field, and draws you a card to keep card advantage and pressure, which is milk and honey against control decks. And it probably will be the balance tipper in mirror matches. Whoever gets this one first and has the opportunity to just go off is probably going to win. So this feels high risk, high reward because of all the things that need to surround it in the deck, and it's high mana cost if you don't have creatures out. But people were still casting Gulta, so I have a feeling this will work too. At number 7, Garruk. It's just a powerful card. Most 6-drop Planeswalkers they make now are, and they should be. The problem is just not in the colors I'm seeing too often now in Standard, which is the only thing holding this card back from Majesty. In the right deck of impactful mid-range cards, this is the top end that will allow for the game to spin out of control, while taking a lot of the heat because his ultimate is no joke. In conjunction with Nissa, which would almost surely be in the deck with this, it would create 6/6 lands with Vigilance and Trample, closing out the game with unbelievable pressure. Corey Bowmaster made a test deck using it, and using Kethis, another cost-reducing card I love. Put 2 in an Abzan, and that's probably where it belongs, especially because the interaction with Garruk, creating wolves, and Tosamir's ability to have wolves fight when they enter the battlefield on top of gaining life was magnificent. And the more often that actually has relevance when coming up, the stronger this deck is going to be. So we're going to check out the meta, but this one will be good. It might just take a better man than me to come up with a deck to surround it. At number 6 is Brazen Bower. At number 6 is Brazen Bower. At number 6 is Brazen Bower. Borrower. At number 6 is Brazen Borrower, the Tempo King. Honestly, one of my biggest issues with Simic Flash was that it was too weak. Like, sure, you got Spectral Sailor out, can eventually pull away with card advantage, can pump Briar Cliff or whatever that 2-drop Merfolk is, but that takes work and is still just a ground creature. This is ridiculous for that deck. Honestly, it was missing a mana efficient 3-drop, and something like the Gruul decks that I was just talking about will push through that anyway, and that's not going to be able to swing in past any of your creatures. So now the clock is going to be ticking a lot faster when they're holding up 4 mana, just hit you for 4 last turn, with flying in the air, and you know you're just tossing away one of your cards to a Frilled Mystic they always have. Always. At number 5 is Murderous Writer. If you ever played in Theros last time it was around, I don't have to tell you how powerful this card is, because you'll remember Hero's Downfall fondly. It's crazy how just making it mono black opens the space up for it to be in so many decks as opposed to something like Bedevil.
But wait! There's more!
That offset of 2 life lost is made up by the fact that's just the creature's adventure. The actual creature is a 2/3 with lifelink. So really it's just good in any deck and in every situation, but never the best in one thing. Jack of all trades, master of none. Full quote, still better than a master of one. Doubling as removal that can be played as a lifelinking creature to defend or pressure, or can do just one or the other, seems way better than the narrow options most cards typically have. And just about any deck that is going to be in, it's just going to be a 4 of that's rarely sided out. That's not something you can say about most cards. With all that hype, you might think that makes Murderous Writer number 1, as I think it will be one of the most used cards in Standard. But at number 4 is Shepherd of the Flock. And this card scares me. This is the card I just see doing the most degenerate things. I see someone breaking him, and therefore me, causing me to stop playing Magic for a little while because I'll say preemptively, fuck this card. Already I can see this as a 2 or 3 of in Bent Field of the Dead. Now, you may be looking at me sideways, but on the real, this says any permanent. And it's an instant. So you want to Assassin's Trophy my Field of the Dead? Nah. Legion's End my Hydroid Krasis? No, no, no. Kill my Risen Reef or Golas or even Arboreal Grazer if I'm feeling particularly petty? Fuck that. Then, on the dickhead proactive side of things, you can -3 Teferi, save him, play it next turn, then bounce it with Teferi to start the cycle all over again. Or just pick up a land to play again and make 4 more zombies in the late game. What I'm trying to say is this card is disgusting. There's probably even more places this can go, but I don't even want to give people ideas. And while at the 4th spot, I'll put this one with an asterisk because it will end up being one of my least favorite cards to see, even if I don't see it a lot. Now, into the narrow cards that look at the Jack of all trades coat with disgust, the same way you do when someone mentions they're vegan or Jehovah's Witness. And that's really the entire black-blue control deck that will surely be a thing. Might seem like cheating to put an entire deck at number 3, but look, from this set in particular, Covetous Urge and Drown in the Lock, I don't know how to say that, doesn't matter. Pick your poison, both of those are similar to Thought Erasure in that if you're playing those colors, you are a fool for not playing them. Additionally, it got many new finishers. The possibilities in Shimmer Dragon with a bunch of artifacts, which might not work, but there's still the classic with Lochmere Serpent to close, or shit, even an Ashiok version with Thought Collapse and that new card, Don't Speak? I don't remember what it was. No, wait, didn't say please, that's it. Might make Mill have a comeback. Regardless, this is a deck, it will be used. For the sake of the integrity of the list, let's just give the 3rd spot to Drown in the Lock. And at number 2, going even more narrow, here's Fervent Champion. Just stupid. In any red deck that wants to win by doing damage, this card is crazy. 1 drop, first strike, haste. So it's potent with Cavalcade, is a knight if you want to break into other colors, and further rewards you by letting you pump them or itself, so it works well in multiples. Along with that equip clause that can make an already onboard Embercleave stick on for free and close out the game with a haste 4 damage, it just seems that while in the last iteration of Red, burn was what closed out games, now that doesn't seem as necessary because this creature alongside Bone Crusher Giant, another very cool card that didn't make the list but is incredible and will be seen a lot, are just amazing. Will the meta allow it to be great? Who knows? By the tail end of the last season, there was less red decks around, but that was mostly in best of 3. In regular play, I still saw red all the time. You'll see Fervent Champion a lot, especially since a lot of people are dickheads, don't come up with their own deck ideas, and just run aggro to get easy wins. So, just get used to it. When you keep a slow land, hoping not to face something too fast, it'll be there. When you play a temple thinking, wondering, and finally deciding to keep your finisher on top, only to see them play a mountain and tap it and know you've made a horrible mistake, it will be there. When you sleep at night, it will be there. When there's already 4 on the field and you surprisingly see them play an island and spark double for the 5th, and at number 1, none other than the keyword king himself, Questing Beast. Even if you've never played Magic, you can look at the novella's worth of text and realize that it's gotta be pretty good. Turns out, it's going to be ridiculous. I don't even have much to say about it. Like, I can read you verbatim what it does, but that doesn't feel necessary. It's just obviously strong, like Nissa. You know it's going to be a problem, it's a good card, and I am as excited to play with it as I'm sure I'll dread seeing it hit the board across from me. And that makes for a pretty good card. What I'll reiterate though, is it's time for Marauding Raptor's second time in the sunlight.